So we have the son of SS Rajamouli, SS Karthikeya, who went to Comic-Con Mexico and had a whole panel about Varanasi. So I thought, let's have a look, let's see what we can learn more about the film. And this has to be one of the first films to do that, right? Like an Indian film going in Mexico to promote it. Not even when the film is coming out, way before that. So they are going for that, pan-global, pan-world. Ramayana should have also done that. Mexico is a big market. Brazil is a big market. Like, these Spanish countries are also really big market for movies. So they should definitely try that. But happy to see Varanasi is doing that. And we're getting to see, I think he's the first AD on most of his films and the line producer also. So I'm sure he'll have a lot of interesting things to share about the film. And I see a familiar face who has interviewed Rajamouli before also. So it's a long one. It'll be fun. Let's check it out. If you haven't seen the original, put the link description. You can check it out there. Another delay. Let's have a look. That's a big stage. Whoa. Did they show the footage?
Oh, I need to feel some
like the one we saw like previously, the glimpse.
energy. I said, how are we doing, CCXP? You guys are in for quite the treat tonight here at the Thunder Stage. For starters, though, my name is Liam Crowley. I come from Screen Rant. Any Screen Rant fans here in the audience? We are going to have an incredible panel for a production I had the pleasure of actually being on set for this past November, Varanasi. And tonight, just for this Mexico City crowd, we are bringing you some exclusive looks.
Okay.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with Varanasi or SS Rajamouli's work, this film is going to change the cinematic landscape forever. It's something you
So
all
I
want to
guess
be a
they
part of.
showed them the footage or some exclusive also behind the scenes which we haven't seen.
I'm so glad you could join us here tonight. And to guide us on this journey, I want to call to the stage one of the great minds behind this highly anticipated project. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Mexico City welcome to the one, the only, the unparalleled SS Karthikeya.
Give him almost. I thought he was going to say SS Rajamouli with that introduction. All right.
Hola, buenas noches, Mexico.
Well done.
Your Spanish is better than mine already. My Spanish needs some work. I need to practice this entire weekend. Well, Karthikeya, welcome to Mexico City. First off, how does it feel to be here? How was your trip?
Oh, I mean, coming to Mexico was always a dream, and we were always a fan of Mexican food. Heard a lot about the culture here, and
I think it's very similar also. Like, I think it was Mexico or Brazil that remade Three Idiots. And that could tell that, there's a lot of similarities between the culture.
here for CCXP is a pleasure, and just walking through those halls is so overwhelming, so much. It's a dream. One day, we'd like to have something of Varanasi up there in the hall, like in a big stall.
That'd be
That
cool.
would be the dream.
Yeah, we're seeing projects like Supergirl, The Boys, everything Marvel has coming out with Disney, and Varanasi is included in that ensemble. It is very special.
By the way, there was a news that Marvel, like their talks with Marvel, with Varanasi, they want to kind of distribute or co-produce, like something is going on between them. So that's interesting because Marvel always makes it their own stuff. They never do that, like, co-working with something on some other projects which are not Marvel property. So that's very interesting that news came out and then it died down. So I'm not sure if it was just a rumor or really some talks are going on.
You mentioned you were able to walk around CCXP a little bit.
Yes, I did today morning, and wow! I mean, I don't know what else to say. It was a beautiful experience.
It's truly, truly special to be here with this great crowd as well. So to start our conversation by recalling a little bit of the past, you're one of those responsible for unifying the Indian cinematic market, specifically Tollywood and Bollywood. So was Varanasi originally conceived to be a pan-Indian film right from the script, or is the soul of the story strictly regional?
India is a diverse country, has more than 29 languages, and there are about more than 5 or 6 film industries, and each film industry, we do the same work, but it's just differentiated by the language.
Use that momentum to create RRR. Any fans of RRR in the building? Oh yeah.
There's some
I knew
loud
there'd be a
noise.
pop for that one. So now to speak specifically about the audience here, the Mexican and Latin American public has a very strong relationship with magical realism and ancestor worship. So do you believe Varanasi will be your strongest connection with these audiences?
Yeah, that's the hope.
Interesting camera
there
angles.
are a lot of similarities that we've seen. Like, even the lot of comics or the stories or the films that are coming out from Mexico are drawn from their history, from the
Was Coco Mexican, right? Mexican culture. Like that, watching that film also you understand that so much similarities with Indian culture.
Aztec or the Mayan civilization, and so do we in India. We really get inspired by our epics, which are like the Ramayana or the Mahabharata. In some films we might not directly show them the epics, but there is a lot of inspiration from those stories.
Yep.
But fortunately, in Varanasi we have excerpt of Ramayana in the we have a 20-minute to 20 to 25 minute of Ramayana.
Okay.
So I think even
very exact, not exact, like approx number of how long the segment would be.
culturally there is a lot of similarities between the Latin American audience and the Mexican audience. I feel going in the city of Mexico and meeting people, they're so welcoming, and I find the same kind of warmth in my city, in my country, and the food. Even the spice. I don't think I can get that spice anywhere else apart from India. And when I come to Mexico, So there and also the family values that you kind of hear that the Mexicans hold. I think that also we are very similar in that way. And
I agree.
the family values is a very integral part, a significant part in the story of Varanasi. And I feel there are a pretty lot of factors that people will relate to and enjoy the film.
Yeah, I'm glad you did mention that because there are so many parallels between Mexico and India. The two most recent international countries I've been to, and like you mentioned, the hospitality, the willingness and the excitement to share culture, food, cinema itself, that is something that is directly in the DNA of Varanasi, and it's going to be very special when this thing reaches that global audience on April 7th, 2027. You mentioned
Nice work.
Mr. Rajamouli's evolution as a filmmaker and what he was incorporating into his films over the course of his career. I'd love if you could speak about that a little bit, as you've had a front row seat to this evolution for so long.
See, he started off with a film called Student Number One. It's a very coming of age, college, soft story. People loved it, and
I've not seen that.
Immediately,
Maybe building up to Varanasi, we can kind of try to watch all the. I saw Yamadonga, right, of Junior NTR. So there are few films left which I have not seen of Rajamouli.
made this film with the same actor called Simhadri, which is an action blockbuster, which is with a lot of bloodshed and with hard-hitting emotion, right? And it was a money spinning project, created records back then in 2003, if I'm not wrong. And everybody kind of expected another films like that with another big star. But no, he just went on.
That's
and
good.
he picked up rugby. Rugby, even now in India, is not, not many people know about rugby, the sport. But he picked up rugby as his third film.
Okay.
And he made a film based on rugby, right? And then he went on to make a couple of other blockbusters, and then in 2012 was actually when he completely changed his game and made a film with a housefly, right? And that's called Iga. And I came across this very funny meme, and about Iga. Can we have that, please? I think many of them would know this.
We have a Iga meme prepared.
Yeah.
What are they showing? What is a meme? All the comments.
I don't know how many of you guys feel
I think they cut out the Iga portion.
same about it, but I think if I was not part of the film, I would have felt the same. Hearing the log line about one guy being killed and being reincarnated into a housefly sounds absurd, and that's what I was trying to say about how he surprises his audience always, and Iga kind of put him apart from every filmmaker in the country, saying, this guy can do or come up with anything that we can never expect.
Yeah, the SSR binge before April 7th, 2027 is alive and well. There's a big Indian population out there that are big fans of these films, and I owe them a watch list of like 15 projects right now. I'm working on it. I'm getting to it. Slowly but surely, but over the course of this next year.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very chopped up. Like there's some portions they just trimmed out as if they're talking in the middle and they chopped off. Like I think he maybe took names of all the films and that's the portion they cut it out.
And
We'll check them off.
yeah, and then I think more than me speaking, I mean, visuals convey better than words. We have a nice of SSR's work for them to watch. So let's watch that.
Oh, they're showing all the... Okay.
Hace 25
That's
años,
good.
un joven cineasta de Andhra Pradesh, India,
Actually, that's good because if there are people sitting, they have no idea what's going on. Visually, they can show what we're actually talking about. Not just the upcoming film, but before films they have come. Maybe some have seen, some have not. Maybe they'll be intrigued and go check it out later.
comenzó su carrera. Con el paso del tiempo, ha establecido un estándar sin precedentes. Cada una de sus películas se ha convertido en un éxito rotundo. Desde su primer largometraje cumplió, y luego otra vez, y otra más. Nunca ha hecho una película que no conmueva al público. Nunca ha optado por lo seguro. Y jamás, nunca, ha subestimado a quienes lo ven.
Okay, it's all in Spanish, I guess. Oh man,
En
those...
2012 con Iga, una simple mosca se convirtió en la heroína de una historia de venganza, demostrando que una gran historia no tiene límites.
I think you should, like, if you haven't seen anything from SS Rajamouli, Iga, Bahubali, Triple R, and then Varanasi. Like, I don't think you have to go before that.
En 2015 con Bahubali, una
Babu,
épica en dos
man,
partes
the
que
epic
vendió
shot.
más de 115 millones de entradas en India y superó los 375 millones de dólares a nivel mundial. No solo creó el mayor éxito de taquilla del país, unió a toda una nación, estado por estado, idioma por idioma. Un país entero contuvo el aliento ante el espectáculo en pantalla.
I think they should re-release some of his work before Varanasi comes out, like in different parts of the world.
Su visión volvió a confirmarse cuando RRR se convirtió en un fenómeno global. Audiencias de todo el mundo se enamoraron de su acción única y del vínculo inquebrantable entre dos amigos. Inspirado por el espíritu de diarios de motocicleta y por cómo desconocidos pueden convertirse en leyendas al final de
Inspired
un
from
viaje,
motorcycle?
se
Okay.
hizo una
I had no
pregunta
idea about
audaz.
that.
¿Y si dos luchadores por la libertad de la India se encontraran en otra parte del país, se descubrieran a sí mismos y regresaran para luchar por su nación? Eso es RRR.
RRR. I mean, R is called R.
Una película que el mundo abrazó. Se convirtió en el título con más semanas consecutivas en tendencia en Netflix durante 14 semanas seguidas.
And the
Y
Oscar.
una vez más, su visión se confirmó cuando RRR también triunfó en Japón, permaneciendo en cartelera por más de un año. Steven Spielberg la llamó extraordinaria.
Oh,
Beautiful visual style, and I just thought it was extraordinary to look at and to experience. So congratulations for RRR.
James Cameron quiso estar en el set.
And I'm going to hold you to. I'm going to come to your set.
Yes.
You can give me a camera. I like to operate. I can get some shots for you. Some second unit. Maybe.
I'm still waiting for that to happen.
Well, I've seen RRR. It's amazing. It's incredible. I mean, I think what's so amazing about it is the level of emotion.
La noche de los premios de la Academia, el mundo se unió para celebrar el ritmo contagioso de Natu Natu.
Show that.
Aún hoy, su energía
Sounds like a
sigue resonando.
documentary.
Y el hombre detrás de todo finalmente se convirtió en un nombre global, SS Rajamouli. Un estado lo vio nacer, India lo celebró. El
And
mundo
now
lo
it's
recuerda.
Varanasi.
Cada paso, un sueño más grande. Cada película, una audiencia más amplia. Ahora regresa con otro impacto monumental. Una aventura de acción que recorre el mundo, con raíces en India, pero pensada para conquistar el planeta entero. Y el mundo aún no la ha experimentado. La próxima parada en su viaje es aquí mismo, Ciudad de México. Ustedes, Varanasi de SS Rajamouli, solo en cines, 7 de abril de 2027.
That's a good advertisement.
I mean, come on. Sensational. Sensational. That's the only way I can describe what you're able to see when you get SSR's entire catalog condensed into like 5 minutes there. And what's funny too, where I get chills, is seeing RRR on the big screen. Because I'm sure so many people here, my experience watching the film was at home via Netflix. That is how a lot of audiences were introduced to that project. And it was amazing, and it took my...
Like, how often does it happen that a film is out of theaters, goes to streaming, and it becomes such a sensation that they bring the film back in theaters and it's houseful? You know, and that too not in your country, it's in a separate country where the origin is not from that country. Like, how often does this happen?
Breath away, but man, the entire time I was like, I would kill to be in a theater right now. I would kill to have that surround sound, that big cinematography on a 143 IMAX screen. And I'm so blessed to know that April 7th, 2027 is circled on the calendar, and we will get to experience an SSR film as one entire globe in real time. That's got to feel pretty special.
Yes, and in Spanish.
And like I mentioned at the start before I brought you out here, Kart, I was on set.
Yeah.
We shared the set together. I had the privilege of going to the Varanasi set. And when I say Varanasi set, it's twofold, because the film is called Varanasi, but that's also the titular city that we're working with here. And so you guys were able to completely reconstruct one of the holiest places in the world.
We did a video, I think, on the channel. We watched the whole set. Like, someone went through the set and showed us how it was made, and it just looks spectacular.
For what, a 60-plus day shoot with a mixture of scenes that take place over the course of so many years and everything, and being on that set, feeling the energy that you were trying to create, it was magical. There's no other way to describe it. It was magical. It was also my first set visit. Yeah. So this was the first time I ever got to peek behind the camera and see how everything was made, and to see the amount of care and precision and attention to detail. Like, I'm walking around this Varanasi set, and there are posters on buildings that I'm like, there's no way the text on that poster is going to be visible in the final cut. But there's that level of attention to detail, because I know it's going to bring out the best in your performers. And that is something I tip my cap to. That's something that Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, the Russo brothers, and many other prolific directors all tip their cap to. The level of attention to detail and just the genuine care for creating a once-in-a-lifetime story.
It was beautiful what you said. But yeah, I mean, the story begins...
This noise coming behind, like people are shouting, something else is going on.
And revolves and ends in Varanasi, the holy city of India. It's also called the spiritual capital of India, and it's one of the oldest cities that was built and is still inhabited. And obviously, our director, Mr. SS Rajamouli, had a vision of some breathtaking sequences in the ghats of Varanasi, which obviously practically we couldn't have possibly executed there. So I mean, as producers, our responsibility is to make that happen, and sent out our production design team to Varanasi to get all the possible dies, the measurements, the pictures, the references, and all of that. And yes, to get his vision, to get his vision come true.
And that's the craziness, right? Like that's why he's such a director, that instead of doing green screen, instead of like location, you cannot actually, have that location for 60 days and, stop the crowd from coming. You cannot do that there. So you have to find out other reason. Other thing, you really, just have some things built and then put green screen and you can later do it. But he didn't do that. It's like, no, build me Varanasi again in Hyderabad. Maybe with a smaller scale, but build me so I can, shoot the way I want. If you want to destroy something or some attacks happening, big crowd, action sequences, like everything you can do without any, problems or restrictions. So you can, put out everything you want to. There's no limitedness to your creativity.
We built the Varanasi ghats brick by brick to ensure his vision comes true.
This crowd's ready for April. I can tell. Next April. We're under 365 days away. I'm realizing right now it is April, but don't worry, we're getting there. About 11 months away. Again, Mr. Rajamouli, he's still very hard at work on Varanasi. This is a very extensive production. It requires a lot of tender love and care. It is one of the longest filming processes I've ever seen, and for good reason, because what is being assembled here is truly unlike anything anyone will ever see at the theater. That being said, SSR still knows he's got a big fan base here in Latin America. And so, it wouldn't be Rajamouli, sir, without saying a little hello. So,
a
please
small
direct your
message
attention back to the video screen for another surprise.
All right.
Hello, Mexico City and CCXP. I wish I could be there with you today, truly.
Here's the video.
But even from here, I can feel your energy. The Mayan civilization and its architecture always intrigued me. In fact, in my previous film, Bahubali, the city center and the throne were inspired by the famous Chichen Itza pyramid. But I must confess that my knowledge on the Mexican history, heritage, culture is very minimal. But now I hope this would help me learn more about you wonderful people. I have spent around 25 years making films, but nothing quite prepares you for the moment when you realize that your story has crossed oceans, that people thousands of miles away are laughing, crying, and dancing to something that you created. That is what
That's a
did
feeling.
for me. Not just my country, India, but the whole world showed me that an universal emotion is enough to reach every corner. And when I heard Natu Natu being sung and danced to across the world, I thought, yes, this is the exact reason why I make films. I am a filmmaker who believes that storytelling has no language barrier, only emotion, only the human experience, which is the same whether you are born in India or Japan or Mexico or anywhere else on this earth. And that belief is the foundation of my next film, Varanasi.
Okay.
I dream big. I always have. And Varanasi is my most ambitious yet. And here is a glimpse.
Rajamouli saying, I'm sorry. Rajamouli is saying that this is his most ambitious, that then it's something else altogether.
To that dream.
What are we gonna see? They wanna show the same thing which we have seen? Yeah, with the sound, yeah, I can tell from the sound. So they changed the language to it's on the IMAX screen, but that's fine. Well, the music, they will like rise up in that theater, speaker will be amazing. Next transition is gonna be crazy, crazy. What happened? Okay. It's one too dark. Or the camera is not getting it. I still remember my reaction. I was like, what? I was like, wasn't expecting this at all. And now, this vibrations is crazy. Music is gonna be crazy. Like, I would assume for people watching this for the first time, they'll be like, what is going on? Like, what are these, like, just transitions and visuals? Like, it doesn't give you anything. But the more you see it, like, the craziness of it, like, it just, builds up to you. Time trotter, man. The way they showed that. Filmed for IMAX.
Hope we have impressed you with what you have seen. It is a story rooted deep in India, but made for every person on this earth who has ever believed that one human being can change the course of history. Like you have seen, the story not only travels from India to Antarctica to Africa, but it also travels through time. I cannot wait for you all to experience the story unfold through these breathtaking words that we have conceived. The audience in this room today, you are exactly the kind of people I make films for. Passionate and curious. While many of you discovered RRR on screen at home, Varanasi is coming to theaters and IMAX near you. And it is made to be experienced on the biggest screen possible.
All right.
April 7th, 2020.
That would be Padala for me. I know there's Priya also in Delhi, which has the biggest big IMAX screen. But what I've experienced in Padala is like, if I want to experience anything which is meant to be watched in IMAX, that's the place to go.
27. Namaskaram.
You can literally feel that glimpse, the sound, the visuals, and it's all out of context. And I've watched so many theory videos on YouTube because I'm trying to piece together this puzzle as best as we can. At the very end, it uses the hashtag Globetrotter, where this thing all began at the big title reveal last November in Hyderabad. It was Film City, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the Ramoji Film City in November 16th.
I traveled to India. This is a completely new cinematic culture for me. And as soon as I stepped foot in that outdoor, I can't even call it an arena because arenas have roofs. This thing was an outdoor stadium with 50,000 people of the most passionate film fans I have ever seen gathered in the Indian heat, gathered for, it looked like miles down the road, all to get that first look, that first glimpse at Varanasi. They were the most patient crowd. They were the most lively crowd. They introduced me to the magic of the one and only worldwide superstar Mahesh Babu. Again, let's talk about that big title reveal.
I was expecting
you said it was November 16th, 2025. You obviously knew what we were about to see, but did that fan response change your perception of just the reach that this film was going to have?
The fan perception actually, that's something.
And there were a lot of technical issues also. So, the fans stayed, they were patient, and, they were cooperative. That's a big thing, right?
We expected, to be honest. But on that day, we had a few glitches. I don't know if you remember during the event, but the fans' patience was what really surprised us. and we were so it was so heartwarming to see them so patiently just waiting for us to get those things right, because we were also doing something new. We put up a 100 feet high LED screen. We built it from scratch, and so those they were and we couldn't play our set before on the big screen, because that it was such a big screen, 30-meter high LED screen. It was seen across some kilometers. So we were worried the video would be leaked before the event, so we couldn't do that. And but the fans were so patient during our patient during our those glitches. I mean, that was more surprising to us and very heartwarming.
They could have played something else, to check. Or maybe have two cranes and raise a black cloth, but how big cloth, where will you find it? And that crane, and just so that you could cover the screen and then just watch it and then just put it down. Like, maybe there's too much.
Like I said, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because the patience aspect is really what floored me about the entire experience. Leading up to that first footage drop, it was a big old, swell of hype, not unlike we would have at a CCXP or a Comic-Con, where we're talking for a very long time, and at the very end, we reveal the footage. And it went on for about, a couple hours. And when we get to the big moment of revealing the footage, because they built this screen from scratch, a true 1:4:3 screen, because Rajamouli, this is his words, not mine, he calls himself an audacious filmmaker, and he says, he's got an audacious mind. If he wants it shown in 1:4:3 and they don't have a 1:4:3 screen, we will build it. That's what they did. And for that reason, though, it took quite some time to load. And I've been in theaters before where the audio cuts out for 5 seconds and people boo, or they throw popcorn or something like that. And I'm just like, can we just be a little bit more patient? In this instance, the trailer was delayed by about 20-ish minutes, I would say. Not a single comment. Everyone was patient. And then when the trailer finally played, what was the first thing people said? Play it again. Play it again.
Play it again, yeah.
And then also, Babu. And it really is, pun intended, just scratching the iceberg. We got a lot more to see when this thing hits theaters on April 7th, 2027.
So I think the media was shown a lot. Like, they've been to the set, they were at that event, they saw the footage, of course, and they also saw some behind the scenes. They saw some movie footage which they've already shot. They, I think by that time, had done 40% shot. So that they have seen those things.
So yeah, I mean, so we have a small glimpse into what went into the event that you were just talking about. If we can have that for all of them here, please.
They came prepared, huh? They came prepared. They were like, we'll have all these things to build up the. So it's not just just talking about the movie with nothing. Like, they have literally introduced the director with all his films before. Then we got a note from him. Then we got to see what Varanasi is gonna be like, and then we're getting a making of that event. Like, that like, this is a good way of constructing it, so it's not boring for the audience who have no idea what it's about.
Let it burn.
We were making fun of the Mahesh Babu's coming on there, so looking so bad and all, but just it's a fan event, that's the best kind of thing they could have done, right? To visually depict something and kind of hype up. Like, it'll be special for people who are there, not to see him just walk up, on the pole, you're just sitting and coming in that pose, and that makes people excited. That's what they come there for, right?
Ladies and
and gentlemen, this is SS Rajamouli once again taking Indian cinema to the world, and definitely more audacious than ever before.
To make this movie something that you cannot even imagine.
మన ఇండియన్ సినిమాని గ్లోబల్ తీసుకెళ్లడంలో గ్లోబల్ ఆడియన్స్ని తిరిగి మన ఇండియాని చూసేలాగా ప్రయత్నిస్తున్నాము.
ఈ సినిమాకి mere words won't do justice to the scale and scope.
ఇది నా డ్రీమ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్. ఒక రకంగా చెప్పాలంటే once in a lifetime project. I'll make everyone proud. Most importantly, I'll make my director the most proud.
Oh my god. I never saw that. Fireworks and all.
Did you guys see that sea of people? It's like Coachella, but for Varanasi, like literally, that's the only other comparison I have. I'd love to educate a little bit more on the cast we have assembled here, because Mahesh Babu, for those who don't know, is one of, if not the biggest actor in Telugu cinema, Tollywood specifically. And it's fair to say, SS Rajamouli is one of, if not the biggest filmmaker in Indian cinema as a whole. And this is the first time that these two are working together. And when I talked to SSR during our interview, which you can watch now on Screen Rant's YouTube, I asked him how long this had been in the works for. And it had been like a decade. It had been a long time of trying to get schedules to align, trying to figure out the right project for them to collaborate on. The homecoming of one of the biggest movie stars in Indian cinema history, as well as the union of one of the biggest Indian stars, but specifically action. Mahesh Babu has done so much great action films, along with India's biggest revolutionary filmmaker working today. You cannot put enough superlatives on this film. Kart, do you have any more to add?
No, not anymore. I mean, like you said, I mean, this was a dream for both, for all of us to see this come alive. Like you said, I mean, Mr. Mahesh Babu and Mr. SSR, agreed to work on this. But like you said, they were waiting for the right plot line or the log line or the story that really brings them together, and it was Varanasi, and I think we're at the right time, at the right place, making a very deeply rooted Indian film for the world, and I think the right people are involved, and I really hope we make an impact.
And what's very special too, can we make some noise for that, everyone? What's very special too is here, I alluded to this campaign before the title was revealed was just #Globetrotter. We didn't know anything about it. But we did not abandon the mantra of Globetrotter once the title was revealed. SSR has been using Globetrotter to describe this film twofold, because the plot takes us all over the world, but also the meaning behind the camera is we want this to be a global experience, to bring people of all different backgrounds and all different genres that they flock to come to the theater for this project. And what I find really special, Karts, is that the Globetrotter tour, if you will, kind of starts here today, here in Mexico City. This is effectively the first stop, which I assume will be of many.
You can totally say that.
Yeah, and so it's really cool to take
That's a special feeling
here in Mexico City, and the response based on the crowd we have here today, based on the noise you guys are making, and I know the noise people are making on social right now. It sounds like we picked a good spot to start, huh?
Yes, and I'm very, very fortunate to be here, and like you said, this is amazing crowd to start from here, and and yes, I think this is just the beginning. A long way to go, a lot of things to do, a lot of things to show and excite the audience.
Yeah. We're counting down the days, everyone. April 7th, 2027. I'm going to get it tattooed at this point. I feel like I've said it so many times. But, Kart, again, thank you so much for taking the time to come here to Mexico City. Before we officially wrap, do you have any closing remarks here for the lovely fan base you've built for yourself here in Mexico City?
Thank you, each one of you who have been enjoying Mr. SS Rajamouli's films. And I know all of you are fans of him who are here, and that's why you're here. I hope this panel kind of entertained you, gave you, it was worth your while. But And I promise you, Varanasi is going to keep up all the expectations that you have, will excite you, and you will go crazy in theaters April 7, 2027. Thank you all for making time and being here.
Thank you, everyone. Before I forget, we do have a CCXP tradition here on the Thunder stage.
Of course.
We gotta sign the logo. So if you'll follow me here.
That's a nice tradition.
I believe we have a pen here for you, right behind. Here you are. And you're joining some prestigious company. I see Christopher Lloyd right there in big letters.
Oh, that's a nice signature.
There we are.
A lot of people came.
Thank you, CCXP. Make some noise one more time for SS Karthikeya. And I know I'm going to see you all in theaters on April 7th, 2027.
All right, that was a fun thing. Again, as I said, this is what you have to do to go global. This is what Marvel, DC, all these films do. As you said at the beginning, right? All the DC, Marvel films, they are also on, and that panel. They also at their panel, they also showcase what they're building. So you have to go to the world. It's just that, in India, make a great film and then expect people will come and watch it. So you have to push it. You have to go to the country, you have to go to the events, introduce yourself, show your work there. I'm sure there will be fans who find on internet and watch such films, but you have to put in an effort in the right way. It's not just putting in money and putting posters there. Like, they would not know that. Like, such events where they can interact, they understand what's going on, you're talking to them directly, being part of their culture and their country and their event, that's gonna, like, the people who have no idea about SS Rajamouli or Varanasi, they would, like, it will stick in their mind that I attended that event, I saw these visuals. That'll bring them, when that release happens, they will see the poster like, I know this, let's check it out. That's much better than, just them see a poster for international film is put up and I have no idea and they just walk away, right? So you have to do these events, you have to go to different countries. Of course, US is a big market, and if US market, like, it becomes a big thing and then it travels to other markets also. But you have to first, make your way in all those markets. And I think Varanasi, we didn't know how much they're gonna go for the promotions, but they are doing a great job. Whereas I feel Ramayana, which is like they want to go to 80 countries, dub the film in 80 other languages, I don't see the same happening. Like, they did go to CinemaCon, that's a big thing. Varanasi was not there. CinemaCon is big for US, and that's where they are targeting Ramayana for. But I think they should also do these different events across different countries. It's not just US that you want to target. Of course, US, if you click, and it'll be a lot of money, but you need world domination, right? You need every country the film should be playing there. So I think Varanasi is doing a better job at it right now from the looks of it. Finally, what happens, we'll see. But right now, I'm happy that they're doing this, and this was really good, well done, very well hosted. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you next time.